Hello, I'm Dr. Anthony Carcillo, and in this video we're going to step through the quadruple constraints of project management. Initially, the quadruple constraints of project management was the triple constraints of project management, and it's typically represented as a triangle consisting of time, cost, and scope. Over time, the triple constraints of project management evolved into the quadruple constraints of project management. The quadruple constraints of project management, again, is typically represented as a triangle and still consists of time, cost, and scope, but a fourth dimension or a fourth constraint of quality was included. Now, when we speak of time, it's how long it takes for the project to complete the scope of work while still meeting the quality standards or quality constraints identified as part of the project. Cost is the total cost of all resources assigned to the project. This includes raw materials, it may include raw materials, it may include temporary employees, consultants, any equipment, any salaries that are assigned to the project. Now, there's no one way organizations do this. It varies between organizations. Some will include salaries as part of the cost of a project. Other organizations won't. So it really depends on the organization that you work for, how they track cost and how they allocate it to projects. Scope is all the deliverables, the products, services, etc. that the project is to provide. Quality is the degree to which the products, services, the deliverables, etc. meet the identified quality requirements or quality standards. Now, those quality requirements or quality standards may be part of a scope statement. They could be part of a statement of work. They might be found in a quality document. They might be in the requirements document or a combination of all of those. There's also an interrelatedness within the quadruple constraints of project management. And we could think of that interrelatedness as a giant rubber band in a room, and there's 4 people. Each person represents one of these constraints, and they're in each corner of the room holding this rubber band, and it's rather taut. And if you were to change cost or any one of those constraints, it would be the same as somebody pulling on that rubber band. It's going to impact one or more of the other constraints or the other people. So let's go through a couple examples and get a better feel for this interrelatedness. So in our first example, we have a project that involves purchasing and staging 100 desktop computers. But now the project sponsor requires 150 desktop computers instead of the 100. Possible impact to the quadruple constraints could be cost is going to increase because we need to purchase 50 more desktops. Cost could also increase because we may need to hire temporary help to assist in the additional work while still meeting the original time frame. So scope increased, but if the time doesn't increase, costs could increase because we may need more help to get the work done. Time may also need to increase to account for the 50 additional desktops if we don't have additional funding for the extra help. And even if we had the additional funding, we may not be able to just hire more help to get the work done it may require time to be expanded. And quality could be impacted. So if the cost and the time constraints don't change, then the quality could degrade as team members try to do 50% more work than planned. So you might have the team members, or the team members might volunteer to say, okay, we'll put in a couple hours extra every day, we'll work weekends, we'll get this done. But as often happens, as people put in more overtime and more hours, you may find that the quality of the work degrades as people try to do more within that same amount of time. Second example, your project sponsor informed you, the project manager, the project involving a 2-minute video of each of your employees delivering a message to a customer must now be completed in 8 months instead of 12 months. So some possible impacts to the quadruple constraints are costs could increase if you need to bring on more people to video all the employees. So it could be you just had one person that were going to do all these videos. Now to get it done in 4 fewer months, you might need 2 or 3 people to do this. Costs could also increase if you need to purchase or rent additional video equipment so that videoing could be done in parallel. Excuse me. So if initially you only had one video camera, you may need to purchase a couple more so that you can get the work done within the 8-month time frame instead of 12 months. Quality may be impacted because you may need to negotiate the quality of the video by having inexperienced people and not experienced people taking the videos of employees. Yet you may also need to negotiate the scope of the project. You may say that in order to complete the work in a shorter amount of time without increasing cost and without degrading the quality, you may need to negotiate that only specific employees will be videoed. So a third example of the interrelatedness. In this scenario, and this is a generalized, highly generalized example, in this scenario, your project budget has been cut by 20%. Some of the possible impacts to the quadruple constraints are scope may need to be reduced, the quality of the project might be degraded because you need to buy equipment or supplies of a lesser quality. Interrelatedness example number 4. In this scenario, the scope of your project is to stage 200 tower desktops with 1 terabyte hard drives. To keep costs under control, inexpensive hard drives were purchased, and that was all part of the initial plan for the project. After the project started, the customer and the project sponsor indicated that they need highly reliable 1 terabyte hard drives instead of the inexpensive ones. And typically, the better the reliability, the higher the cost. So possible impacts to the quadruple constraints could be cost will probably increase. Time may increase if you need to write new purchase orders, especially if the equipment was already shipped and you received the lower cost or inexpensive hard drives. If you've already received them, then you got to pack those up, ship them back to your supplier. You have to put the purchase order in or buy them and have them shipped to you. So that could impact the time. So as the project manager, you're always balancing the quadruple constraints. and that's throughout the life of the project. In order to properly balance the quadruple constraints, you as the project manager need to negotiate with the project sponsor. And to do that, and to do it well, one of the things you need to know is what's important to the project sponsor or to the customer. Which constraint is more important? And typically, you'll hear something like, they're all important. But as the project manager, you need to ask some probing questions to identify, okay, well, time is more important than cost, or cost is more important than time. But that's something we could get into in another video. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up or the like. And if you find this useful, please subscribe to the Tech PM Talk channel. Thank you.